Music power.
Skateboarding. By the 1990s, it was not a hobby. It was not a sport. It was a state of being. To skate was to be the outcast, the odd one out, the bad kid. You trespassed.
Skateboards are illegal at school now. Oh, I'm calling the sheriff.
You dodged security. You ran from cops. You waxed ledges. You bled on concrete. You slammed and got back up because no one was going to clap for you. Cities didn't just dislike you. They redesigned themselves because of you. No skateboarding signs were everywhere. Benches had metal studs. Plazas were policed. You were not welcome. And that was the point. The 90s didn't invent skateboarding, but it had completely redefined its identity. Street skating had exploded. Video parts were religious. This was the skateboarding renaissance, and its greatest painter was a man named
Tony. We got any picture it? Here we go. Feel it. Are you kidding me? Yeah, look at this. Tony Hawk, everybody. Yeah, look at this. Down there in the mosh pit, it's Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk is obviously one of, if not the most famous skater of all time. And when he started getting his own video games, skateboarding reached the masses. Suddenly, skating wasn't just for weird outcast kids in parking lots. It was in living rooms, in the hands of normal teens and kids. Tony Hawk's Underground is an important game, not just because it laid the framework for everything EA Skate would later try to be, but because it was my first real taste of skateboarding. Watching my older brother play it instantly showed me everything I needed to know about skating.
One busted taillight. Violation. One bad bumper sticker. Big mistake, you punks.
It's not our car, man. We borrowed it. We like cops.
Aren't you white meat supposed to be out fighting real crime? Like figuring out where that missing sprinkled donut went?
Oh, that's real funny, smartass. Kiss your little roller skating contest goodbye. That is, unless your buddy here wants to do us some favors.
It showed me what skate culture felt like. The grit, the soundtrack, the feeling. It was raw. It felt like this game was made by real skaters who were proud to showcase their reality instead of packaging skateboarding for everyone else. Which was amazing, because it set the course for a long line of skate games. Thug 2, American Wasteland, Downhill Jam, and a bunch more that carried that same gritty, real energy forward. And they were great. They made skating look fun, explosive, limitless. But something was beginning to change. The same kids who grew up playing those games started to actually skate in real life. And when you actually step on a board, you realize something pretty quickly. There was a serious disconnect that became more obvious over time. Even though the games were authentic in spirit and clearly made by people who love skate culture, they were still arcade games at their core. They felt like a high-intensity action movie compressed into a skateboarding game. Burst through a window, grind a power line, launch into a ridiculous 1800 McTwist into a drained pool. It was fun, absolutely. There was clearly no doubt about it. But real skating doesn't feel anything like that. Real skating is awkward and technical and repetitive. You fall a lot, and you celebrate landing one clean trick. And the players who had been influenced to skate because of these games started craving something that felt closer to the real experience. They wanted weight and consequence, and struggle. They wanted And on September 13th, 2007, EA granted their wish. Skate 1's impact simply cannot be overstated. It truly was that revolutionary. The flick it system was the missing piece. Real skaters understood it immediately. Virtual skaters felt the difference instantly. You didn't just press a button, you controlled the board. You flicked the stick. Flick it for a kickflip, flick it for a heel flip, spin it for a shove it. It felt so genius, and yet so simple. How could this have been missing for so long? It made all of the other skateboarding games feel redundant. For real skaters, it felt like real skating.
I want anyone that has a chance to play the game to understand skateboarding for what it really is, and not exaggerated, just something that's more authentic and more true to what we do.
For players who had never even skated before, it made tricks feel real. It felt like they were truly controlling the board. For the first time, difficulty was part of the experience of skateboarding video games. Timing mattered. Setup mattered. That level of control had never existed in a skateboarding game before, period. Sure, you couldn't grind power lines and burst through windows, but it had that feeling. Not to mention the art direction, the soundtrack, and the world itself felt gritty and real. It had the reality of Tony Hawk's Underground and the technicality of something never seen before. It truly did usher in a brand new era for skateboarding video games. And as the Skate series progressed, it developed a real identity. You could feel the love and attention put into it by the team in every piece of clothing and every inch of San Vanalona and New San Vanalona. Each map had iconic districts and distinct locations that made the game feel like a real world. It felt like some parts of the map were real places that you could find or just stumble upon if you walked around any given big city. Not to mention the returning characters, the running jokes, the niche references, and the real pro skaters that had voice-acted cutscenes, which felt like a genuine endorsement of the game by the real professionals it was based on, which I think further demonstrates Skate's respect for the Tony Hawk Underground games. And with that many pro skaters woven into the experience, if you were a real fan of skateboarding at the time, there was a good chance your favorite skaters were in the game, which added to the sense of everything feeling connected. Real-world skating felt like it could have taken place in these games. You could watch a Thrasher part, then load up Skate, and see that same skater cruising with you virtually. The transition from watching skate culture to playing in it genuinely felt seamless. And because of that, Skate 1 and 2 perfectly captured the feeling of being an abrasive outcast on the fringes of society, just looking for the perfect place to skate. You dodged security and angry pedestrians. You skated around and dealt with anti-skater architecture, and hunted for spots the same way real skaters do. By the time Skate 2 hit its stride, the IP had reached a beautiful place. The gameplay was satisfying, the tone was real and grounded, and the culture was respected. It genuinely felt like it could not get any better. And then on May 11th, 2010, EA Black Box dropped what some call the greatest skateboarding game to ever exist. When Skate 3 dropped, it felt like everyone was a skateboarder, or at least everyone had a skateboard. You remember how I said my first taste of skate culture came from Tony Hawk's Underground? Skate 3 was the addiction. I played it constantly, and I can vividly remember skating in real life, coming home exhausted, booting up Skate 3, and skating until 3 or 4 in the morning. I remember watching my big brother play. The joy me and him felt as we played this game was different, completely different than any other skateboarding game we had ever played before. Skate 3 kind of reminded me of the first Tony Hawk's Underground. You could play it for hours. It felt absolutely endless, like there was an infinite amount of things to do. There's always a new spot. There's always a new jump, a new gap, a new thing to try. But unlike the Tony Hawk games, it still felt grounded. It felt real. It was a noticeable shift from Skate 1 and 2 though. It was looser and more playful, but it was nowhere near as arcadey as a pro skater. There was nonsense for sure. I absolutely still remember the first time I saw my brother land a Christ air or a miracle whip and thinking it was the coolest thing ever. But I also remember the tight lines and the technical runs. The feeling of actually planning a route through a spot and nailing it. It felt like the series had found the sweet spot. The gear, the tournaments, the cutscenes, the humor, the map design, the editor, the online crews, being able to upload your own logo, earning board sales through contests. It felt like you were actually skateboarding. The dirt and grime in certain districts, the back alley spots, the contrast between polished marble plazas and cracked concrete. No one was talking about Pro Skater anymore. Everyone was playing Skate. And then there was YouTube. Skate 3 had dropped at the perfect moment. The early 2010s. YouTube was exploding. Funny moments, glitches, ragdoll physics, crew edits, commentary videos, trick lining. Skate 3 didn't just dominate skateboarding video games. It was the skateboarding video game. And just when it felt like skateboarding video games couldn't get any better, everything just stopped. EA abandoned Skate as an IP. No sequel, no roadmap, just silence. The diehards kept playing, YouTube clips would circulate, but after a decade, even that momentum slowed. Skate 3 slowly left the mental arena of gaming culture. It became a classic instead of a current title. And it wasn't just skateboarding video games. Skateboarding itself was changing. But the desire for a skateboarding game didn't disappear. Other studios tried to fill the gap. Session, Skater XL, they leaned even more heavily into the realism, with dual stick controls and physics-based systems. They were more serious. And they were good in their own ways. But they weren't Skate 4. That's what people wanted.
Thank you. So the moment is here. We finally get to say,
we're back. We're doing it. Skate's happening. We're rolling. We've secretly got together. It's the beginning. The skate evolution continues.
Crackling rosy, get on board. We gonna ride till they're hay.
After more than a decade of waiting, it was announced. Skate 4. The boys are back in town. The party's back on. It seemed like life had been restored to normal. After more than a decade of waiting, we finally got Skate 4. And the things people were saying in this trailer, they filled you with hope and determination.
It just looks beautiful.
It reminds me of Skate 2. Explain that spinning rail. Can you do that to anything?
Like, I don't want to look like anybody else.
You guys are in the future.
I've tried to record this part of the video about 10 times over maybe 3 or 4 days now, and there's no way of describing how bad this game is in a timely manner. One of the saddest parts about this game is the fact that all of the culture that made the previous skate games, has been siphoned out. And in its place, the team has decided to inject some of the driest, unfunniest, humorless characters that I have ever seen in a video game. Throughout its life cycle, one of the most important and influential things about the Skate franchise is that it was a narrative-driven skateboarding game. Every skate game had a story. In Skate 1, you were a skateboarder just trying to be the best. In Skate 2, you were that same skateboarder who got in trouble for doing some illegal skating and spent some time in prison. And when you get out, Mongo Corp is taking over the city, and you're trying to liberate the city and bring skateboarding back. In Skate 3, you're in an accident and you get dropped by your sponsor, and you create your own brand to stick it to them and show the world that you can be the best skateboarder and that you can have the best brand. In Skate 4, the story is do the tutorial. And to aggravate that wound even more, you do not see any real characters in this game. Throughout the story, you interact with the non-player characters that guide the story through talking head graphics and subtitles. There aren't any cutscenes in this game, and I don't think there ever will be, nor do I think that putting cutscenes in this game was ever on the whiteboard. But the lore and the story of this game honestly deserves its own separate video, which might be out by the time you're watching this. But just know that anything in the creativity department regarding the characters is slim to none. But storylines and character interactions be damned, What is the core gameplay loop of this game? Complete challenges around the city to level up each district to unlock loot boxes so you can buy basic t-shirts. The only way to get any items in this game is to complete challenges and stack up rip chips to open loot boxes. And no, there is no way to buy any item on its own, unless you use San Van bucks, which are only purchased with real money. Now, what loot box it's in entirely depends on what it is. Usually, t-shirts, pants, and shoes are in their own different loot boxes, but that's not the only thing that's in the loot box. In the shirts loot box, there can be stickers and items and other random things that have nothing to do with shirts, which means if you wanted to put on a black t-shirt, blue pants, and red shoes, you would need to find each loot box containing something like those items or those items, grind in that area for rib chips, level up your district level so you can even open the loot box, and then you'll need to stack up somewhere between 200 to 300 rib chips just to unlock one loot box. Now, remember, getting an item out of the loot box is entirely random, so you may need to open more than one. Considering the fact that there can be 12 loot boxes at a given price of about 200 to 300 rib chips, just to get a black t-shirt, you may need 3,000 rib chips. And since you only get 20 rib chips a challenge, that's about 150 challenges that you have to do just to get a t-shirt. Now, I don't know about you, but as far as time management goes, spending maybe 4 to 5 hours trying to get one t-shirt that you would have gotten within the first 5 minutes of booting up Skate 3 doesn't seem like a good deal. And this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. The game has had its philosophy fundamentally altered. It's obvious any game design choice leads back to money. Why did they nerf how many rib chips you get from completing challenges? Because money. Why is an early access game from a AAA studio with billions of dollars to its name incentivizing a battle pass like they need you to buy it to fully fund the game? Because they are greedy and they love money. Personally, I think they put everything in loot boxes because they knew that they didn't want to pay real brands to get their real gear in the game, even though that would have made the game 1,000 times better, and it's a luxury that we had in all of the previous Skate games. EA has gotten too lazy and too greedy to even pay out companies to put their gear in the game. And so because of that, they know that there's not enough gear for you to just be able to go into the store and buy it. Because if we were able to just go into the store and buy things, we would have everything that's worthwhile within the first 5 seconds of booting up the game. I mean, you really don't need much. And the rest of the gear is absolutely worthless. Nobody wants a polka dot sports bra. I promise you. So it's like they decided, why don't we just put everything in loot boxes? That way, the player won't realize how long it's taking them to get the basics. In Skate 3, you're working towards getting better and better gear. Yeah, at first you get plain black t-shirts and plain shirts and stuff like that, basic tees, basic graphic tees and stuff. But by the end, you're able to unlock cooler stuff, denim jackets, chains, things of that nature. One of my favorite pieces of gear from Skate 3 was the Ushanka, the hat. I love that hat so much, and it was so fun grinding and having to do stuff to get to a certain amount of board sales so I could unlock that hat. It felt rewarding. In Skate, you don't get that same feeling. I'm grinding so I can open a loot box, and then once I open this loot box, I get to have a basic t-shirt. It's so obvious that they tried to make this game as marketable to children as physically possible, and they made it as tedious as possible for people with no time to get what they want. And when you can't get what you want in a timely manner, you buy it. It's one of the main pillars of the live service model. And it's one of the main reasons why, in this day and age, we simply will never get high quality games with replayability from AAA studios ever again. The live service model has proven way too profitable. There are so many quality of life features in Skate 3 that are absent from today's Skate that it almost makes me wonder if they even care about this game. Because at its core, this is not the Skate that we deserve. We will never get the Skate game that we deserve. The fact that this game is free to play and always online shows you that they have no intention of making the Skate 4 that you and I know would be a banger. So to me, no matter what they do to improve upon this game, fundamentally, this isn't Skate 4, and it never will be, nor did they ever intend it to be. And that should be a smack in the face to every Skate fan. Regardless of if they add everything that they have in the roadmap and this game somehow becomes decent, it still will never hold a candle to the game that we could have gotten if the live service model never existed. I love Skate. Tons of people love Skate. But this isn't the Skate 4 that we wanted. And I think EA knows that. And I think anybody that still plays this game knows that. I feel like most people that still play this game now are just coping. And that's sad because it shows how much we wanted Skate 4. And the fact that people genuinely think EA wants to improve this game or make it good, it hurts me to see these people having to get hurt every single day. And as of the making of this video, Skate actually just put out their dev update on Season 3, where they're talking about the Isle of Grom and purchasing things in the store and how they're trying to revamp certain things. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. It really is a carrot and stick approach that I feel like Skate and EA are taking to this game. They're charging you to access the Isle of Grom, which is the tutorial island that we already played on and started on. And they say things like, oh, we know this is going to be your favorite map, and yet they're charging you to go there. It's either buy the battle pass or pay 500 rip chips for a day pass for 24 hours to get there, which is just insane. And I think it just goes to show that everything I'm saying in this video is, you know, holding true. This isn't Skate 4, and it never, you know, was going to be. And I feel like a lot of people probably thought it was going to be. But on the bright side, there are plenty of good games that are still coming out. Session just got a big update, so, you know, never too late to switch. I definitely recommend people go and check out some cool YouTube videos that I will link in the description that is talking about this new dev update thing, because I can't be bothered to throw it at the end of this video, but it's actually really crazy how much they are spitting in our faces. So, but anybody who stuck around this long, I sincerely appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way through. Don't forget to leave a like. It really helps the video, and subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one.